I'm in my 40s and I want to share with you exactly what contouring hacks and tips work perfectly to lift and just make you look younger. So let's get started. We're going to get started with base. I want to show you exactly how to prep your skin in the correct way so that you can get the best possible results. I want everything to be hydrated, plump, and kind of as lifted as it possibly can before we even get to the makeup. So I am going to go ahead and add my eye cream, which is my MAC Hyper Real eye cream, and we're just going to smooth this over the eyes like so. And you want to make sure that it's just nicely kind of evenly distributed over the area, and you don't have like too much on, because I feel like sometimes if you put too much on, that's where you can end up seeing creases, you know, after with your makeup. And if you don't put enough on, that's also when you can end up seeing creases, because that's when your kind of the dryness is coming through and there's not enough hydration. So next up, we're going to be using the Guerlain Youth Watery Oil. This stuff is like magic for anyone in their 40s. Guys, I've recently discovered this and it's been a game changer. We're going to get some of this in the hand, and then we are going to press this onto the skin. This literally makes me feel like I'm just giving my skin the drink of water, and it smells so good. It's not like overly heavy. It's not your traditional kind of oil. That's why it's like a watery oil. It's kind of a hybrid oil. So what I want to do next is just get some extra lifting in before we even get started with these hacks. So this is like the first one. Always use a gua sha on top of your face oil to really give you that lift. So we're going to get started with this bit here. This is the MZ Skin Gua Sha. We're just going to go along the jawline, because this area here, it really does help. I'm like knocking my earring as I go along to just lift the area. And we're just going to go as far as we can up here on the jawline. And I usually do about 8 to 10 kind of swipes. And you make sure that you slant the gua sha so that it's not kind of straight. I don't know why I say gua sha really weird. I just realized that's how I say it. Gua sha. So anyway, now we're going to get on to the next bit. Now I suffer from a bit of kind of like jowling here, and I'm using my other Pocket Rocket ZIIP Halo, which you guys need to get hold of. I'll put it in the description. You need to get hold of one, because that is amazing. It's been magic to slim down my lower face, by the way. So if you're in your 40s, you're feeling like you're getting a little bit of kind of loss of like elasticities, jowling here, that is a game changer. This is temporary. You do it every day and you're going to see the results, but you've got to keep doing it. The ZIIP Halo, on the other hand, you do it there's like treatments on there. You do it and then all of a sudden you get the most amazing results. It's just great. You're going to love it. So this area here, I like to just kind of flick up. It really does make a difference to the way your makeup sits, because it does kind of reshape your face ready for the day. I do genuinely notice a difference here. So this is where I go along this area here, and we're going to go up like this, and that just helps with that kind of like depression there and just lifting the area. There you go. Okay, now I take this bit here and I just kind of like go over my cheekbone, and this really helps to shape the area and lift the area. I really do notice a difference here. So we're just going to go up towards the ear. You're not really pressing hard, by the way. You are kind of doing it lightly. You're not like really pressing hard. So just an FYI there for you. And there you go. Now next up I go over the brow area, and this is great for that kind of brow lift here, because obviously who wants the creasing, the crow's feet, all that kind of stuff? We want it lifted, right? So this is really going to help. Honestly guys, doing this every day is really going to help. And if you suffer from lines here, then you want to use the flat part of it and just take it up. There you go, that is the gua sha done. Okay, next up, we want to move on to moisturizer. Now I'm using my Drunk Elephant Protini. I feel like this is a really good moisturizer because it's full of peptides, and it's really great at just giving you that extra hydration, and it's not heavy on the skin at all, because I do feel like a lot of the time you end up getting confused because there's just so many good, like you want the hydration, but you also don't want the cream to be so heavy. There you go. That is literally it. Link is going to be in the description for you guys. So, okay, moving on. Let's move on with the other hacks now. What I want to do is just kind of get my eyelids done so they're out of the way. Let's add a little bit of concealer. Where's my concealer? Here we go. I've got my Tarte Shape Tape. So what I'm going to do is actually put this on the back of my hand and then work from that. So I want to get my, here we go. I want to get my sponge. It's damp. And we're just gonna like buff into this concealer, and then we're gonna buff over the lids, and this is just gonna get rid of that darkness that we've got there. This is kind of the first step to anything, because I feel like this is where we can really kind of like just set the tone for the rest of the face. There you go. Got my powder puff, which currently I'm using the Makeup by Mario one because it's just so good. And then this is my Huda Easy Bake. And then I'm gonna get my Real Techniques brush. I'm doing this bit fast because I really want to focus on the hacks. But there you go, that's set. Once that's done, you can really focus on the rest of the face. So let's move on. Now, first off, what we want to do is apply foundation. Now, I'm not going to do underpainting on this, which is basically when you apply your concealer before you even apply your foundation. Because I have realized over time that there are so many of you who don't underpaint on a day-to-day basis, and it does take a little bit longer in general to do that technique. I love it, and I do it if there's a special occasion, or if, you know, I really want that snatched look and I want that evening look, then I definitely underpaint. But generally day to day, this is fine. Putting your foundation on is fine. It's totally fine. So we're gonna go ahead and apply our foundation first, but we are gonna be doing a certain technique with the concealer after, which I think you're gonna love. Okay, so I've got my MAC Studio Radiance foundation in NC38. I've got this on the back of my hand. I'm gonna get my BK Beauty 106 brush. Very quickly, if you really love this video, this channel in general, it would really help if you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell button so that you don't miss any of my future videos. I know it's annoying maybe hearing this, that's why I try to slip it in here and there, but honestly it makes a massive difference to my channel, and it really does help my channel to grow. So if you get anything out of my videos, please do those little 3 things and I'd really appreciate it. I just realized I put that on the back of my hands and I nearly completely forgot to put primer on. I, to be honest, don't always put primer on. This is my MERCIER Pure canvas. I'm just doing it because I feel like I get so many people saying, oh my God, you missed out primer. So this is where you would do it. I don't always put it on, just, you know, thought I better do that. Okay, we're gonna go in with foundation. So this is where I'm just gonna really get a nice even layer of this onto the skin. Now, you wanna make sure there's not too much of it. You want a thin layer, but enough that it does evenly spread everywhere, because sometimes when you go too thin with your layer of foundation, you end up seeing the patches after you've powdered. So you really want to make sure you are getting it everywhere all over your skin. Don't just go here and then there and then there, you know, you really want to get those movements very close together. And then you are going to see it come together. I mean, look at that, one side is done, already nice and kind of flawless. So let's do this side. We want to really make sure, again, like I mentioned, get a really nice even layer. I really do love this foundation. I just feel like, oh, I didn't think I was going to love it as much as I do, because I don't know, I haven't really been using MAC since I was much younger, and then this came out and I was like, wow, you guys are really up to the game, up to your game. So there you go, we've got a nice even layer there. Next, we're gonna move in with our concealer. I'm gonna get some of this concealer on the back of my hand. Now, I wanna go for a little bit of a lighter color concealer. The one that I did use before was 38N Medium Tan Neutral. This one is my 35N Medium. because I need it to be a little bit lighter. So what I'm doing is actually mixing these two together, because the 35 medium on its own is a little bit too light for me. And because we're actually adding this on top of foundation, we want that little bit of brightness, but we don't want it to be too bright, right? So if you have a concealer that actually is just a little bit brighter and that works well for you, great. You're not going to need to mix anything together. But for me, that's what I'm having to do at the moment. So I'm mixing those two together to get that slight brightness, but it isn't too white where it's going to look totally disconnected and weird on my skin. Now, what we want to do is we actually want to kind of like paint this on. I'm going to explain exactly how this works. So I'm going to get this is my Makeup Forever brush. I think this is, I'll put it on the screen. It's the concealer brush. Now I'm going to just paint into this concealer, coat one side of the brush. And this is where we're going to draw certain lines to really give us that kind of lift. And it's just perfect for when you're in your 40s, because I feel like that's what you want. You want the lift. We're just going to add a little bit there. See that lift there? It's not crazy, but it's a lift. Then we've also got here. Can you see that? That's just underneath the lip line. See how close that is to the lip line there? How close that is there? It skims the corner of the mouth and goes up. Can you see how this is both of them are going in the same direction? Next, you want to add this anywhere you want a little bit of brightness. Now, ultimately, I don't want to go too bright around the perimeter. So I want to kind of like get that brightness here. This is equally going to help to kind of cover the dark circles. You'll see this as we go along. And there you go. This is how we used to apply concealer back in the day, like as a pro makeup artist. Nowadays, everyone's swiping from the wand, and it's absolutely fine to do that. But if you try it this way, I can guarantee you're going to be like, wow, this is actually an amazing finish that you get, because everything is so perfectly even before you even start blending. So see how we've got that nice lift there? We're going to do the same thing here. Do you see why you don't want it too bright? Because otherwise it's just going to look really white. I like to do the side of the nose here, because other than the fact this is going to help to cover the under eye circles, it also brightens the kind of the center part of the face a little bit. So you don't really need to add this anywhere else. So we're going to get rid of this brush now. Well, we're still going to keep it, but I've cleaned the brush because I'm going to use a different shade. Okay, now we're going to go in with this sponge and we're going to now blend it. So we're going to first off work on this area here. We're going to keep it in the same place. We're just kind of bouncing on top, and you're going to see it's just going to like kind of blur the edges, but it's all going to stay where it was. How perfectly did that just blend, right? So do the same thing here. See that? Amazing. We're going to do this. So I love the fact that with this little technique, this little hack, applying it with a brush and getting it really even and giving yourself that lift, you don't have to mess around with too much product there. You've actually got the perfect amount, and you've actually applied way less than you would do with the wand. So here we go. So honestly, try it with a brush, because I'm going to tell you, like, you are going to find it a game changer for your whole routine. It's going to be amazing. So now that we've done that, we're going to move on to the next part, which is adding a darker concealer, but we're kind of doing a similar thing. So I'm going to use the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Cocoa. I've got this on the back of my hand, and this is quite dark, significantly dark in comparison to my skin tone, but I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to use that brush. We're going to dip into this dark concealer, get an even amount on the brush, but not like so much where it's like a dollop on your skin after. And now this is where we're going to add little dashes in certain areas to really give us that lift. Now first off, we're going to go from the top part of the ear. I'm going to go in like this. There you go. That's it. That's all we're going to do there. We're going to get a little bit more on the brush. We're going to do a little dash here. Can you see how we're doing it in different areas? But actually it's the same direction as the lighter shade that we did. So we're doing a little bit there, and then we're going to go underneath the jawline there. Same direction. Let's do this side. There you go. Make sure it's all symmetrical. I'm telling you now, you don't need a lot of product on this brush. This is honestly the smallest amount. It's just when you're applying it, because you're applying with a brush, it's actually applying so thin that you're getting the perfect amount of like kind of amount there basically. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to get a sponge, and this is a spare one that I've got here. So what we're going to do here is start pressing, bouncing, same way we did with the lighter shade. See that? It's just left a little kind of shadow there. There you go. Same thing here. We want to try and keep this in the exact same place that it is. I really don't actually want to spread it that much. I really just want to kind of blur the edges of this line, and that's about it. It's going to end up very soft. See that? It's very soft. There you go. If you find it too hard to do that, you can spray the sponge with a bit of kind of hydrating spray to make it a bit easier for you to actually blend. There you go. So same thing here. We're done. Look at that lift everywhere that we've got, and it still looks natural. It's not like over the top. It isn't like, look, I don't want you to think that this is just basically contouring, because I'm showing you how to get the lift and sculpt your face without applying a ton of makeup. We've got a thin layer of foundation first. We've got a very thin layer of concealer, but it's strategically placed. Same thing with this dark shade, which is really going to chisel and give you that really nice lift. And yet all of it looks quite natural in comparison to a full-on contouring routine because of the way we've applied it, right? Onto the hand, and then use a brush. Don't apply a lot onto the brush. So that's what I really want you to take away from this section. Now what we want to do is set this. So I'm going to get into my powder here, and I'm going to be very strategic with how I place this, by the way. So I'm going to get my powder onto the puff. I'm going to really swirl it into the hand so that it's nicely evenly coated on there. I've got this ready, and I've got my sponge. Let's do the under eye area first. I'm just getting rid of any of the creasing. There you go. Now, press, and then go up here, right? You can't even see the powder. I'm dipping into it again, into my hand here, and then here. The reason you can't see the powder that much is because I'm really swirling it into the hand to make sure that we're not getting too much powder there. And we're doing the same thing here. Apply it everywhere that we use that light shade, including your smile lines, by the way, and anywhere you really do want that matte kind of look. I'm going to go down the nose and a little bit on the forehead there. Okay, so right now we've set it in the certain areas where we actually gave it a little bit of a lift. Now what I'm going to do is get my brush, the Real Techniques brush. I'm going to just, there's nothing on this brush, by the way. I'm going to dust away that powder, very lightly skimming the face. And we had it here. There you go. That's the only place I'm going to kind of like dust it away. Now what I want to do is get my veil brush, get the big side, dip into the powder, and now dip onto just a tissue or your hand to get rid of all the excess. And this is where we're just gonna go over the rest of the face. This is really gonna keep everything in place and give you a flawless base. There you go. How amazing is that base? Let's get my brows out of the way because I just want that done so we can focus on the other kind of hacks. Okay, I have got my Benefit Fluff Up Brow Wax. I just literally put it all over my brows. I'm just gonna go back and forth so it really coats them. I'm just gonna brush them up. I do like it to just sit for a minute because that way it isn't too fluid. Okay, now let's kind of press them up. There you go. I have got a white hair sticking out like a sore thumb. Ow! Oh my God, that hurt. That was just, sticking right out there, and it was really thick. Okay, let's let that dry for a minute and then I'll come back to the brows because that needs to really fully dry. So next up, what I want to do is just add a bit of blush. I am going to add this one because I started using it the other day and I'm just obsessed with it. This is my Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow medium dark. This has a really nice peachy color and it has this slight sheen in there. Let's use my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit brush, go into that peach. I always like to pat onto a tissue art before. And then I'm going to go along this bit here. I really want you to focus on doing it on the top part of the cheekbone because this is going to give you that kind of lift. It's going to help with the entire lift. And it gives a little bit of a subtle glow. See that? And the blush color is just so nice. I'm really loving at the moment how I'm just like going back into older products and just like kind of falling in love with them all over again. It's a really subtle peach and I like that because it's kind of like when you turn, the shimmer gives you the color and it's like, right, that is just the right amount of color. Plus it really suits tan skin tones. I find the bronze shade in that a little bit too gray for me, so I'm not going to be using that. I will use my Fenty Island Ting and use the other side of this brush. Dip onto a tissue first and just add a little bit here. So we're kind of going over where we added that light sculpt, but it's very kind of natural, not a lot. You're kind of going underneath where we added that blush just now, and it kind of holds the blush up, but at the same time sculpts your cheekbone. I mean, look at that. There's nothing there, right? Other than they're very subtle. You can leave it like as it is because obviously the cream that we applied before, the concealer, that is giving you a subtle sculpt, but this is going to really take it up a level if you do want it to. So it really kind of almost cradles the blush. I'm going to use the other side and just dip onto a tissue and just go along here because I like the way that it just gives a bit of a, kind of just gives you more depth. Lastly, very quickly, I'm just going to add a bit of nose sculpt. This is my Fenty 200 brush. Let's just get a little bit of balm. This is my Dior lip maximizer. My lips were literally drying up like prunes waiting for this. I don't know why I haven't put it on right at the beginning. This stuff is amazing. I put it on every day. It's not even for plump. It's just the best hydrating lip product I've ever used because it keeps my lips hydrated the entire day. I put it on once a day. Okay, I think we can go on to the brows now. Let me use my Urban Decay Brow Blade in Brunette Betty. I'm using the pencil side and I'm just gonna draw little kind of hair strokes from the underside of the brow. We want a really natural brow. Right, we're gonna go ahead and do the other side. I haven't even used brow pen today. I'm just kind of feeling the pencil. I don't know, maybe I'll go back to pencils from now on. Let's see. I am just gonna curl my lashes and I want to show you this quick trick. There you go, lashes are curled. How much of a difference does that make? And I haven't even put my mascara on yet. Do you know another little thing that I'm doing? So this is actually my own kind of bottle. It's like I emptied it and I put castor oil in it. So I'm just gonna get it like that so that I can get some oil. I put it on the back of my hand because I don't want to put this directly onto my brows or anything because then it can get a little bit too kind of oily, like, yeah, oily. So then I get a spoolie, I go into it, and then what I do is I just go over my brows and it adds a little bit of a shine, which actually makes sparse brows look a little bit more three-dimensional, and at the same time It's castor oil. Little trick there for you. Okay, now I really like this lip color. It's like a pinkish lip color. This is my Anastasia Lip Velvet in Hush Rose. Put a little bit on like that. How nice is this color? Smooth it all over the lips. Then blot. You're gonna get a lip pencil. We're gonna get the Makeup Forever Artist Color Extreme in 600 Anywhere Caffeine. We're gonna do really soft line. Like that. Then we're gonna blend this lip line in very well. So you can't really see a sharp line anymore. Use your finger to kind of lightly buff it in to get rid of any harshness. And then what you're left with is this really soft lip, which isn't in your face, and you've got a little bit of color there. I'm also gonna show you a quick hack, which I think you're gonna love. Now this is where I am gonna use the darker bronzer side of the Filmstar Bronze and Glow. And even though it's too kind of like grayish for the larger surface areas of my face, it works really well on the eyes. And I want to show you how you can contour it to really lift the area, which I think is a great thing. And it's something that I feel like a lot of people in their 40s want to do. You do want to kind of lift and sculpt a little bit in your eyes without it looking like you're wearing actual like makeup there. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get my brush. Which brush shall we use here? We're going to use this one here. This is my BK Beauty 202 brush. We're gonna go into this powder. We're gonna dip it onto a tissue. I've got a little towel here that I usually use to dip onto, and that takes off all the excess. So I kind of like dip in 3 times and then twice onto the towel or the tissue. This is where we're gonna just sculpt the lid a little bit to give ourselves a little bit more depth around the eye area. I'm gonna do one side so you can see what it looks like compared to the other. So I'm gonna lift my brow a little bit to really get into that crease. And with this brush, we're just gonna go into the crease, but kind of a little bit higher. We don't want this color to end up kind of going onto the lid. We're focusing on the upper part of the crease, because what that does is it actually ends up looking like you've got a larger lid, because it's helping to accentuate the lid, the space that you have there. Now I'm doing this very lightly, like I'm skimming over the area very lightly. Can you see that? Right, we haven't gone all the way to the end. We don't want that whole like shape there. We're just trying to enhance the features a little bit with contouring. So, okay, see that? Look at the difference there. This is where we're gonna go here at the end of the lash line. And we're gonna kind of go upwards like this. Kind of flicking up, but we're not going all the way to the end. And this is going to give you this really nice kind of lift. It's so subtle. I don't want you to keep doing it until you can see a line there. It's super subtle. You have to trust and have faith that there is product transferring there and it's creating the most subtle shadow. So we're going to go ahead and do the other eye. See that? It's giving you this really subtle lift without looking like you've got eyeshadow there. So we're going to do this top part of the crease, above the crease, skimming, not pressing hard. My eye skin isn't even moving with the brush because I'm pressing that lightly. There you go. Do it again, but we're going to flick up from the end of the lash line. And there you go. It's honestly as easy as that, and that helps to open up your eyes, give it some depth, and it sculpts the eyes without needing to actually wear kind of eyeshadow at all. So just to finish that off, let's just add a bit of mascara. I'm just going to put a light layer on of my Hourglass Unlocked. Literally that's it, just a very small amount, because I just want you to see how that really kind of does help to enhance the eyes. There you go. It's crazy, right? Like, it just makes such a difference. Let me just put a little bit onto my lower lashes. Did you know I have an online magazine called The Beauty Breakfast Club, which I'd love to see you on? as part of the community, head on over. Newsletter every other day. Everything's written by me. It's primarily about beauty. 2 versions of subscription. One gives you access to some of the site. The other gives you access to the entire site, including perks, product recommendations, hacks, everything, new product releases. So you might want to opt for that one because it literally just costs you less than a coffee a month. And then you get to chat to me as well in a group. So yeah, head on over. I'd really appreciate your support there. So what do you think of this? How do you feel about this look in general? I personally find it very understated, considering we've really worked to sculpt and lift the area. Like, I just think that doing something like this, it doesn't involve a lot of makeup. There's not actually a lot of, you know, there's no eyeliner, there's no eyeshadow involved. It's just very subtle. And even though it looks polished and it's gonna last all day, it doesn't look heavy. So let me know what you think. I'd love to know your thoughts. And don't forget, everything's listed in the description. And I'm gonna see you on the next video.